on the Water has been brought to you by Whiteley, skipper of Cougar. How's your Hobart, mate?
Fantastic. Better than I ever expected. I think we had conditions that I think were out of the box. Fantastic.
Magnificent, all downhill, mate.
Yeah, it made it a bit easier.
Fantastic.
It's my first Hobart, so obviously we were hoping for something not too rugged, and we got very favourable conditions for the boat, and it was a nice easy sail.
Fantastic, mate. Your first Hobart. Any damage to the crew or the boat?
Minor damage, yes. We tore up a spinnaker and broke the spinnaker pole, but fortunately it was late in the event, so it didn't really have much bearing on our end result, fortunately.
Oh, brilliant. Now, I'm sort of looking for a bit of a ride back to Melbourne. There isn't a chance I can have a go on your boat, is there?
Actually, we're looking for some crew, so...
fair dinkum.
Ideal opportunity.
Magnificent.
Yeah, would you like to join us?
I'd love to, mate. I'd really appreciate that.
Well,
but
it'll
actually,
cost you a couple of slabs.
Oh, that's, yeah, done. No danger at all. Now, second in division on your first Hobart.
Yeah. Who would have dreamed?
Magnificent. Not bad for your first up.
Yeah, well, you know, I've been out of sailing for 20 years and just come back into it with this boat, and you know, it's exceeded my wildest dreams.
Oh,
really
fantastic.
Fantastic.
Well, as soon as though looks like you're ready to go, I better grab me bag and jump on board. Yeah. We'll organise the beer at the first pub.
You're on.
Great, thanks Alan.
Thanks, Caveman.
Preparations to leave Hobart.
Have a guessing. This little machine here says we're going that way, and if it goes to those yellow parts, we've gone too far that way, and the other yellow part, we've gone too far that way. So we want to stay in the white bits, because that's where there's water.
We've left Hobart and we're now in Kettering, a lovely fishing village just down south from Hobart. We've come through the De Castro Channel, so named after a Frenchman in 1791 who, on his way to the Torres Straits, was forced off to Van Diemen's Land through adverse weather. So we're just going to duck into the pub, have a couple of coldies and a bit of a meal. Well, we're down at the Kettering pub. We're here with Quentin. He's a bit of a local down here. I've filmed some of the great carvings down here, and Quentin, I sort of noticed your head looked somewhat like a carving, and I was just sort of wondering, you know, I've been down here once or twice, and I've noticed that you are propped up against the bar a fair bit, and I thought, hang on a second, this bloke is a permanent fixture.
Yeah, well, once I arrived here, they thought, what better head to model the carvings on? So, yes, they've done quite a bit of it on my behalf, yes, thank you.
Fantastic. So, you've been down in Kettering for a couple of years now, and what's it like down there? How do the locals treat you?
This is God's own earth. Locals are brilliant, place is brilliant, and I'm not allowed to tell people on national television because it's best kept secret on earth.
It is the best kept secret on earth. We're in Kettering, south of Hobart. Magnificent place, the pub with a view. It's one of those places where the bar staff make you welcome, the locals are friendly, and even the yachties who cruise in from time to time aren't bad either.
You won't find a friendlier place than this, but I can't tell you where it is. Don't look on the map.
It's been a lay day based on weather, so we're just hanging out at Fee and Q's joint. They've been kind enough to chuck on a barbecue, a few beers, nice and relaxing with friends, and spinning some yarns. Here we have Will, the sailing master. So Will, tell us about where we're going. What's the plan?
Well, we're heading off from Kettering this morning and heading towards the infamous Mat Syker, which is regularly the windiest place in Australia. We've seen winds there over the past 2 days, up around the 60 knots. We've got a little break in the weather, so we're going to try and make a run for it and hopefully get to Clayton's Corner for breakfast tomorrow morning. Yeah, all being well, we should see not more than 20 knots and a nice little reach once we get to the west coast.
Here we are at Port Davey in Bathurst Harbour, southwestern Tasmania. It's a World Heritage listed area, done so for cultural significance as well as flora and fauna. You can see Clayton's Corner behind me down here. There was a trawler fisherman and his wife, Winifred, who used to trawl these waters and also catch crays. They built this hut down here, Winifred carefully tending the garden and Clayton out catching the crays. Once they had plenty, they duck around to Hobart and sell them on the market. It's absolutely magnificent down here. It's, as I said, it's a World Heritage listed site. The views are spectacular. The peat moss around here takes a lot of time to grow, with the vegetation decomposing and whatnot. With the rainfall that you get here in this windswept corner of southwestern Tasmania, you'll get a lot of brackish water through this harbour, and the views are absolutely magnificent. And it is significant that the people of Tasmania and the Tasmanian government look after Clayton's Corner and the pier that we've tied up to, just to come down, have a look at the view. It is spectacular, and what a part of the world. Right, in the galley we've just had a lovely meal of spaghetti. As you can see, the stove is gimbaled. Makes it a lot easier to cook in a seaway. You'll see the fire extinguisher in the corner, and there's another one placed over near the nav station. One good thing to remember is never put your fire blanket over the back of the stove, because if the stove's on fire and you're trying to grab it, you will burn yourself. Put it somewhere else, easily accessible. You can put the fire out with it then. Now at home I generally won't do the dishes, and anybody who's ever lived with me can attest to that. However, being on a boat, everybody's got to chip in, and it's my turn to do the dishes. We're about to drop into King Island, a little bit of an unexpected stopover on the journey. The weather conditions have been absolutely beautiful, but just not enough wind to be sailing alone, so we've used a fair bit of diesel. It's always good to have 1/3 of your diesel capacity left over for emergency. So we're going to drop into King Island here, diesel up, and it's time to meet the locals. That was the Tasmanian adventure. We have part 2 of the Tasmanian adventure next week as we leave Bathurst Harbour and head up to King Island to sample some of the beef and the local produce. We'll then head into Port Phillip Heads. Coming up after the break, we're going to go and slay some dragons with dragon boat racing down at the Docklands. On the Water has been brought to you by